Hello you, let's have a flick through of this chunky boy, shall we? This is the Hobonichi Techo 2024 Cousin AVAC, the January to June edition. It is now currently July the 1st, so I'm very much on time with this, which nobody's more surprised than me. So yeah, let's have a flick through of how I've used the first half of 2024, shall we? So I've got this cover on it, the Midori one, and it is super glossy, and it has protected sort of the cover, but you can see lots of scratches and muck and stuff like this, and it picks up all sorts of hair and dust and things, which is kind of not the point of a cover, so I don't think I'll be getting the Midori cover again, but yeah. So the inner cover, I've just stuck this nice little drawing that I got off Etsy on there on some clear glossy paper. The yearly pages I haven't really used apart from putting in the bank holidays there for some bizarre reason. The index I have made full use of for sure. In my next book I definitely will be reducing the amount of colour coding I've got. I'm going to try and condense it a little bit. Now, I wanted to put this as trackers in with moods and periods and things, but I just ended up not doing it in daily operations. So I've got another idea of how I'm going to use this. If you want to see how I've set up my second half of the book, I'll leave a link in the cards above and in the description below. Moving on to the monthlies, I did start using this sort of in December time because I had a lot going on. So I did use December's. January's, I just took some nice stickers that I found, but these are like really raised up stickers. So it did make it a bit cumbersome, but the aim with this book was to use up a lot of stickers and things that I'd got lying around. And again in February I put some glittered roses on there. And then I kind of dropped off. I didn't really use it all that much because I ended up work got really busy and I've been traveling all over the place. Even now I'm not currently in my book nook or my studio, so I'm traveling again. So I ended up using a lot more of my digital camera, and obviously work took over. So I've not really used them. I've got a few plans for July. And then we move on to the weeklies. Now, I started using the weeklies as a notice board. So basically just like a brain drain of just putting like quick notes down or codes or some paints I need to get an idea of, or itinerary, and just all sorts of bits and bobs. Some books that I need to have a look at or possibly put on my TBR, or just all sorts of bits and bobs. Some cross-stitching numbers that I wanted to keep an eye on, some conversions, some dimensions of some clayboard that I wanted to get. Just little things that you usually have on scraps of paper that end up being everywhere. I tried to put in my notice board. This one I didn't quite get to fill up. I did, for some reason, I think I must have forgotten that those existed and went straight to this page. So there's some more of that. But then I thought a better use for my weeklies would be to have a content creation log, which is where I basically log how long it's taking me to do stuff. So if I'm working in Photoshop or editing or filming, I'll log it down here and then work out how many hours I'm working, and then it gives me a better understanding of how to plan projects out better in the future. So I know that it's going to take me 6 hours to, I don't know, film, or 2 hours to edit, or this, that, and the other. So I just ended up using all the weeklies for that. And just kept it in different colours just to sort of zhuzh it up and not be so boring all the time. So I found that's a better way to use my weeklies, and also put a little bit of information of like the video that I need to focus on for the following week, and then what I need to transfer over to focus on in the next week. So it just sort of focuses more on the videos that I'm making rather than everything else I need to do in my life. So the weeklies then turn on to turning the page, because this is the last week of June, which I didn't use. Turns on to turning the page, which again I didn't use. And then we turn on to the dailies. So each sort of month, I've basically just put, throughout the month, I've just stuck stickers on or bits and bobs of what's happened throughout the month. So it's kind of like a title page. January the 1st, it was a Dear Me letter, just sort of saying hello and what I'm intending to do and what I want to focus on. Any of these blue notice that you see in this flip through, it's like personal diary entries. There's not very many at all because I'm not really a diaryist, if that's the word, person, but every now and again something really good happens or something that I just want to write about happens. So there are a couple of those, but not too many. I could do a list for January, and then all about my first Airbnb trip, Blueberry, Oxfordshire, and then on to my big trip to Scotland, which was very much my birthday trip, and I absolutely loved, and I've done a whole video on it. Again, I'll leave that link in the description. So yeah, the most of January was all about Scotland. I stayed in Dunblane and then travelled from there to different areas. So a little bit about Dunblane and how I felt about Dunblane and things, which I loved. It's a lovely little place. We visited Stirling Castle because it was basically on the doorstep. I've stuck in the brochure for this because it's a lovely axometric map of the castle, which I thought was brilliant, and obviously some other bits of information that I'll want to refer back to. We also visited the Wallisman Monument, which again was on the doorstep practically. So a little bit about that, and then the images that I took. And then I put this page of, again, showing the internal of the entire building and the trek, and then some receipts, because I do like sticking receipts and stuff like that as well. It's a bit of a scrapbook, I suppose you could say that my Hobonichi is. And then just some images of me being there. Then a little bit about Helensburgh, because we went to Hill House, which I'll talk about in a second, and I went nuts about them having Iron Brew at the pump at McDonald's, so you can get Iron Brew at McDonald's in Scotland, which I'm still flabbergasted by and I absolutely love. If you see these little black marks and then an empty space, it's basically I need to stick a photo there that I've not yet printed off. So it's on my to print list, so I will hopefully get around to doing that when I get back home. So yeah, this is all about Hill House. Lovely Charles Rennie Mackintosh house, if anybody knows anything about that, but I won't go into too much detail. Again, still about Hill House because I absolutely loved it. This was the entry ticket with this wonderful section drawing on the back, and then more about it, and then what I bought there, because you can't not go to a souvenir shop, can you? Now this was my itinerary for the day, of like working out where we're going to drive to, what we're walking to, what sort of, is it better to then hop on the train in the city. So we're spending all the time in Glasgow, and I wanted to try and see as many Mackintosh buildings in one day as possible. There's too many to do in one day. That's the lesson I've learned, and I knew that anyway going in, but I chose the ones that I thought would be open, because there was a couple that were closed for various reasons, whether they're renovating or like the Glasgow School of Art is obviously burnt down at the moment, and they're redoing that. So I knew there were only a few that I could go and see, but the ones that I wanted to focus on were the ones that were further out from the city while I had use of a car, because I don't drive myself, so it was a friend that was with me that drove. So we went further out than what I would be, so I can always jump on the train anyway and go and see the ones in the city centre by myself anyway, without having to get taxis and whatnot. So yeah, more about that. We saw the Queen's Cross Church in Glasgow, and then this is the huge booklet full of information for that I've stuck in there. So even though the pages of the Hobonichi are quite thin, they're still quite versatile. You know, you can stick all sorts of things in and it can handle it. You can even put watercolour in these, and yes, it makes the paper crinkly, but it can handle it, and I'm just really impressed by that. So this was the House for the Art Lover that we saw as well. And then a bit about the last bit of the Glasgow trip of trying to go see some of the buildings that weren't Charles Mary Mackintosh, but we were knackered at that point. We'd had enough. And this is about some of the munchies that we got there for the nights. Because it wasn't very snowy, even though it was January, but it was very frosty. But it was like beautiful frost. It was blue skies, frosty sort of wonderland. So I was a little bit disappointed there was no powdery snow, but apparently it was the sort of warmest winter on record. I was like, damn it, I wanted snow in Scotland. But anyway, so after Scotland I had to do a work trip to Sheffield, so that's about that. And then finally coming home, hanging up my coat and boots. I thought that was a fantastic image, because they'd literally been like my uniform for the entire month. So it was nice to see them sort of me out of them. So yeah, and then just a little thing that I found in the garden when I got back home that I thought was quite nice. And then I'm off again for work. After another week, I was off to Shearing, which is the south of the UK. And then I wrote a little bit about a cassette tape that I got from France. Jennifer Lopez, This Is Me Then. I don't know why I ended up... Oh, it was a friend... Yeah, it was a friend of mine that sent me this from France. Even though I've already got the CD, but it was nice to get the cassette because I told her that I was like getting back into physical media, which I very much am doing. I've got cassettes and CDs. I'd love to get vinyls too, but I don't have a vinyl player, so it kind of seems counterintuitive for me to start collecting vinyls without a player to listen to. Or maybe not, just because they're beautiful. So maybe at some point I'll get into vinyl as well. This is a little bit of an update of the Disney Dolls house that I'm doing. Again, if you want to know more about that, I'll leave a link to the playlist. It is a fantastic build, and I'm completely blown away with all the details that are in that building. It's incredible, but I'll not go into that too much. So, that was January. This is February. The cover, I just put these little roses with the same style of the XC drawings that I found. And first day there, I was in Basingstoke, and I went to go and see Argyle, which was okay, but I didn't think it was worth a cinema trip. It was more like a movie that you just watch on Saturday or Sunday just to pass the time sort of thing. So I wasn't too impressed, hence I gave it 2 stars. And then the next day, I had Odeon tickets to use up. So I'm like, while I've got an Odeon on my doorstep, I went to the cinema every day. So I went to see Wonka as well. I know it came out like in December, but it was still showing because it had been hugely popular. I really liked it. It's just, I think, now don't come for me. I think Timothée Chalamet was a little bit miscast in it, and I would have preferred Jeremy Allen because he is a dead ringer for young Oscar Wilde. So I think he would have been better in there for that movie. But again, the whole production of it was fantastic, and the story was great, and getting Hugh Grant to play Oompa Loompa, who would have called that? You know, that was a fantastic element. But yeah, I could do a list for February. I get these from the Simple Things magazine. On the 3rd, coming back up from Basingstoke, we stopped off at Sherwood Pines, because Sherwood is sort of my first interaction with a forest when I was a kid, and it's the thing that set off my whole obsession with forests and fairies and wonderlands and all that sort of thing. So that was nice. This was me back at home and doing some project work. Coming up with some project ideas of what I want to do. So this is about me making my own wallpapers with interactive elements. And then this is some journal icons that I want to create because I want to get into making my own stickers for journals. So I want to come up with some different stickers for that. Again, going into making my own vintage swatch palette, so I was just trying to work out how and like the process of doing that. Again, this is about my other channel, Studio Spirit, which I've probably mentioned about 5 times at this point. And just working out what bits I need to do, like for an animation, a YouTube banner, all sorts of things like that. This was supposed to be for an Easter special project, but I ran out of time because, again, I ended up working everywhere again, and I couldn't really get into painting that much because I need to sort of be at home in the zone when I'm painting a little bit, I think. So I ran out of time with that, but this is just basically all the research for that. A little bit about I had a bit of nostalgia day of going down my favourite kids movies, and then some soundtracks I wanted to get hold of, especially on CD. Again, a bit about the Commonplace sticker pack, which I am working on and will be available soon. A little bit about a magazine that I picked up. That's a diary entry about Valentine's Day. We ended up watching Meet Joe Black on there as well, which is kind of a cheesy movie looking back on it, but at the same time, I really enjoy it for the story and just how it all plays out. And obviously, Anthony Hopkins, fantastic. So a little movie review there. And then my obsession. I was so looking forward to this album, and I was not disappointed. I know a lot of people kind of have jumped on the bandwagon of hating Jennifer Lopez now for whatever reason. I don't know. I just enjoy her poppy sort of music, and I also really enjoyed the movie that she did for it as well. So I wanted to write all about that and give it like a track by track review of each song as well. So I really went to town and wrote a lot about that. I also had a delivery from Stationery Pile and wanted to test the pens, and then also what I liked, what I didn't like from the order. Again, still going track by track for that, and then a movie review as well for the thing that she did, as well as the documentary that went along with it. I really enjoyed it all, so I'm not complaining at all. You can make up your own minds about it, but I just took it as a light-hearted, entertaining thing because it did. It kept me entertained for the duration of the programs, which is what it was supposed to do. But people, I think, have read like way too much into it and tried to bring her personality into it and this and the other. I don't know. It's not a negative thing for me. It's a positive thing. This is just a photograph of my studio and a little poem about, protected in my little house, or rather in my case, my little studio. This is about a Sheffield trip that I was doing. Again, I had to use my Odeon tickets up before April. And then just a little bit about that because there was a lot of firsts for me here. I first went to Five Guys and had their milkshakes. Yes, don't judge me for the banana and bacon. It was delicious. I do not regret at all. The pistachio was delicious as well. Again, I don't regret. And then I bought some art supplies while I was there. So Fred's and Hobbycraft. And then the other first for me was the first time having Popeyes, which was really nice. I really like the chips. But in terms of the chicken, I think KFC is better. Don't judge me. Don't come for me. And then here's me going on about cameras a little bit because at this point I really desperately needed a new camera. So I was like researching and trying to scratch my head of like how the hell am I going to afford a new camera. So I ended up researching into that quite a bit. So here we are in March. Another to-do list in March. A little music soundtrack that I was making. And talking about March and the different things, and then this project that's going on in Whitby Abbey. The colours on this I really like for a kitchen. Absolutely love those colours. Not the layout, but I love the colours. Random clip season. Oh yeah, that's a seasoning thing, random thing. An idea for maybe a camper trip with a friend, maybe. Not this summer, but perhaps next. And then the almanac for different things that are going on in March time. And then I did get no camera. I managed to work it out and got a new camera. And then I've been obsessed with it and I'm been so impressed with it, and I'm recording on it now, and hopefully you guys are liking the picture quality. But it just makes it so much easier for me because it continuously records until either the battery runs out or the card gets full. So it's great for me at the moment. Those are some of my favourite settings. Another movie review for Dune 2, Part 2. I really enjoyed it. I much preferred it to the first June. I know nothing of June at all. I've not read the books. I've not seen the first movies. So I know nothing of it at all. I come from complete novice point of view, but I very much did prefer part 2 to part 1. And then this was travel day from Leeds to Sheffield, from Sheffield to Bishop Stortford, and I had a beautiful Kit Kat hot chocolate and a pastrami bagel from Costa. And then this is sort of what I saw while I was waiting for something in Costa, and I wrote about that as well. Printing on the go. This was about printing, because obviously I'm working away a lot, so I needed a way to print, and I figured you can print it at Boots as long as you can lay out the images quite well. So that was about that. This is about an oil pastel case study that I have filmed and finished, but I'm waiting to edit it. It's on the to edit pile. This is about creating a limited palette. This was an update about the Easter special that never came about because I knew I was running out of time. And then this is about St. Patrick's Day. Just a poem about St. Patrick's, which I thought was quite fitting. This is about the plants in my garden and working out what they are, because they grow beautifully, but I just don't know what they are. So I wrote about them and learnt about them, and then an article also about the same type of plant. This was some studio ideas, some renovation ideas, because I'm sort of building my own studio, but only on paper at the moment. And then hopefully once I've got an idea, hopefully I've also got the cash to do it. So stay tuned for that one. Another very long movie review about Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. I love those, by the way. They did like a limited edition marshmallow and Slimer one. The Slimer one literally tastes like a mojito, but obviously without that alcohol. And the other one tastes like liquid fluff. It was great. I really enjoyed these new movies, Afterlife and Frozen Empire. So I went to town and wrote about those. Then I got another order from Art from the Heart for some more pens because I'm obsessed. And then again, travelling from York to Bishop Stortford, and then a bit about cross-stitching. And then some Easter eggs, bits and bobs that I got from Hotel Chocolat and some other places. More about my cross-stitch projects, because I just finished this melting pumpkin one, and we're starting a Peter Rabbit thing. A bit about Easter trees, because I've never heard about Easter trees before. These are just some niceties, and then these are the Betty's Easter eggs, which look absolutely divine, but are very expensive. Because you'll find that I'll stick things in that either I can't afford, or I've got no way to store them. So instead of me buying them, I'll like take a good photograph of it, or find a good photograph of it, and then just write about it, so it stops my need for wanting to buy it. It's a great way of not spending money. And then I also put little nicety things in as well that I really like as well. So on to very wet April. I started the month off and I went to Disney 100 exhibition. So I wrote about that quite a bit. I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad that I went. And then about the book that came along with the exhibition. I could do for April a little bit about London, because I had a day in London as well. More about cross-stitching and getting back into cross-stitching and organising my bits and bobs. A bit about York Ghost Merchants, because they released this beautiful glass figure and I just thought it was a thing of beauty. But again, I think that one was like £100 and something. But a couple of years ago they released another glass one that I did get my hands on that I loved as well, so I've sort of like compared them. So I really like those. This is about Ghost and Pages. I love his Instagram account. Particularly this image, it just speaks to me so much, so I wrote a little bit about that. Here I wrote about Fortin's Arcade in Leeds. Now I studied my undergraduate in Leeds, and the amount of times I've walked up and down this arcade and I never noticed the figures until recently. How daft am I, you know? Then we've got this logo reveal idea that I'm working on for Studio Spirit. And again, just some beautiful thing. Cherry blossoms, then the almanac for different things to do in April. about follies, of course. I love follies. This is an article about the bookstores and running bookstores and that sort of thing, because it's kind of my retirement plan of what I want to do. Another cute thing, and then me about traveling and discovering strawberry matchas. They are the best matcha I've ever had. Matcha tea from Starbucks. I really enjoyed that. I had that a lot. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. And I also wanted to show you bright blue skies, beautiful. And then when I got into the centre of York, it was like super cloudy, foggy. So it just shows you how different he can change so quickly, literally on the same day. But you know, England. These plants, I found them amazing. These snakehead plants. This is a book that I'm using as part of a project for some Dartshire houses. So another project's coming up. And then this is an article about All Weather Friend. And I just love this image with the rainbow and the hiker. And then it's all talking about, you know, climate change and the weather and why it's so out of shape a little bit. And then these are just some really nice images that I liked. I really love that one. Very winterish, but I liked it. And I love this illustration as well. Then another simple thing. And then another stationery haul from Art from the Heart. And then another article about fairground attraction, because I just love this sort of graphical sort of artistry, and that's what the article was all about, and how it's obviously becoming a dying art as well. And I had a sticker as well, oddly enough, from Kirkby Internet Security thing. They did a limited edition thing at one point, so that came with that. So on to May, got this beautiful image of the York Minster. Talking about some artists that I recently discovered and enjoyed their work. And then about a project that I wanted to do for the Pressing Matters print challenge, but again, I ran out of time. Time, it just slips away. Then another movie review for Tarot, which it was okay, but again, you don't go to the cinema and spend your money on those types of movies. I do love a good horror movie, but it's just, it wasn't that great. It was different, admittedly, a little bit Final Destination thing in a way, but yeah, not the greatest. I also went to the Living Rainforest, so I got amazed by all sorts of different creatures that was in there. The monkeys. I thought I'd be enamored by the monkeys, but no, it was the stick insects I was really impressed by. Yeah, so it's all about that. Then another first for me, Tim Hortons here in the UK. And I still find this a very strange place because they are like a cross between Starbucks, Krispy Kreme, and McDonald's. Because you can get beef burgers, you can get donuts, you can get good coffee, all in the same shop. So it's a very, I was completely bamboozled by the place. And then just another Airbnb that I was staying. And then I got my Doc Martin, so I wanted to talk about the bag that I got, which I love so much. Then this is just the May Alchemic, and then I could do in May. Again, some things that I took from Simple Things magazine. And then this is about my order from Paper Gang, which again I made a separate video on. This is an article about Wonderlust, because I do Wonderlust quite a bit, whether it's for work or just generally anyway. So I took this, plus I really like the graphics of this images as well. Quite collagey cut out, but I quite liked. This is an order from John Turner because I absolutely love his illustrations. They're very basic in terms of like, it's just ink on paper, that's all it is, but the detail that is on the illustrations is fantastic, and I just love them so much. And even the stamp that he sent the order in was Frankenstein. It was so fitting. I love it. Then just an article about model making, which is something I'm very much into. Another simple thing, and then another order from Miso Paper for some new transfer stickers and all sorts of bits and bobs that she gave me for free. So thank you very much for that. And then I decided to actually subscribe to the Peter Rabbit cross stitch, so I'm doing that as well. I am a sucker for part works. Seriously, I am a sucker for part works. So if anyone knows of any part works that you'd think I'd be interested in, please let me know about them, because I just love them so much. The whole idea of getting a new magazine every week with something else to do in it, I love it. I've had them since I was a kid. And I just always loved them. So yeah, a little bit about the premium gifts that you get. The beautiful Forget-Me-Nots. And then a little bit by the Specialist Interest Commonplace book, which is the Free Foes, which is Forest Follies and Folklore. So I'm gathering lots of research and information about that and organising it. So it could be from books, it can be from real life, it could be folklores, all sorts of things. I'll talk more about that in other videos that I do as well, because I'll probably do videos dedicated to that as well. And then this is the June cover with some lovely stickers from Megan Rhiannon. Because I'm kind of with her, like I'll celebrate summer to a point, but then after being in the heat for like an hour, I'm like, okay, I'm done now. I want it to be October, I want it to be spooky season already. So I'm kind of with her, basically, of like, wake me up when it's October. Definitely with her on that one. And then a Hello June and a Could Do for June. Then the Almac. And then an order from the journal shop for some new supplies for my new second half of the year. Empire of the Damned was released and I managed to get a special edition of the book, which I love. I've not yet read this one yet. I'm just about to finish the first one, so it's there ready and waiting for me. This is an article about simple shelters, which I really liked and wanted to do a little bit more research with as well. And then this is another article for In Grand Style, the sort of like heyday of like the big seaside hotels that are now, you know, become quite run down and grotty and things for various reasons. But yeah, I always find it fascinating how it was like the place to be, and then now it's like, oh, it's like the worst place to be there now. This is about a Costa order where I discovered my first bubble tea. Again, I need to put an image there, images here as well. And this is about the area that I was just staying in. Basingstoke again, but a different part of Basingstoke. And then discovered a little woodland as well. This is an article about canal life. And it has put me off wanting to live the canal life, because I was kind of toying with the idea for quite some time in my head about it. But some of the things that this lady's mentioned is like, yeah, I don't really want to deal with that. So it's kind of put me off it, but I kind of have a fantasy. I mean, I think it's one of those things, it's better just to rent it for like a month and do it for a month in the summer, and then that be that. You know, scratch the itch, but don't actually make it a permanent way of life. This is about me buying The Best Friend's Exorcism for Summerween reading, so I'll get that done as soon as possible. This is about my first pair of Levi's that I've found that bloody fit me. I've always struggled to find Levi's that fit me or don't make me look too baggy or this, that and the other. And oddly enough, all of the places that I found them were TK Maxx, not the actual Levi's store. So go figure, but yeah, that's about them. Then this is another movie review for The Exorcism, the second Russell Crowe movie where he plays a priest. I really enjoyed it, but don't go in it thinking, oh, it's like a sequel to The Exorcist or it's going to be a great horror movie. It's not. It's more of a thriller with supernatural elements. And once I got past that, I actually really enjoyed the movie. So I really liked that. Some more beautiful flowers. And then this was about some delicious sushi that I got from a supermarket of all places. Sainsbury's have this sushi counter that they have with fresh sushi, well, fresh-ish sushi. And it was actually really nice. Usually I hate supermarket sushi, so that's why I did an article about it, because I was surprised. And then an article about Frame the Seasons, this woman that likes to have these, put all these different flowers on her shelves for different seasons. And of course, I love the autumn one. I thought they were really nice. And then that's the end of the dailies. And then at the back, you've just got some spare grid paper. So I've started planning out what I wanted to do in the next book. Then some bits that I want to do for this channel. Then I've got a couple of blank pages. And then a little bit about the commonplace pack that I'm doing. About a Beetlejuice print that I'm wanting to make. Some bits that I would need to do. Testing out my index. And then my videos that I need to make. This is like the master list of videos that I've got that I want to make, that I'm either making or they've been filmed but not yet edited. And then I've cut the last few pages of all the stuff that, you know, are pre-printed because this thing was getting chunky and I wasn't really using them. And that's it for this chunky boy. A lot in there. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this and it's given you some ideas of what you can fill your Hobonichi up with. Let me know in the comments below how you guys use your Hobonichi, or if you have a Hobonichi or you want to get one. You know, just let me know what you guys are up to. I'd love to know. Or if you use a Hobonichi for reading, you know, like a reading journal, I would love to know if you do. Because I'm kind of toying with the idea of using a day free for a reading journal as well. So let's collaborate on that one, you know. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.